I apologize beforehand if my voice isn't normal. I just got over being sick, so I apologize if my voice sounds any different in this following video. Hello, this is Bowblax here. A month ago, Miyamoto stated in an interview that was actually back in July that Pikmin 4 is very close to completion. In my mind, this means that Pikmin 4 will be officially announced anytime, like the next Nintendo Direct, the next big Nintendo news dump. Pikmin 4 will be revealed officially and shown everything. So before that happens, I'm going to tell you 15 things that I want to see in Pikmin 4. Now, this list is not going to be in any particular order, so it's not a top 15, it's just 15. And all these wants are going to be based off the idea that Pikmin 4 will be almost exactly like Pikmin 3 was. So this is just what I want to change from Pikmin 3 over to Pikmin 4. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get started. The first thing is bring back C-Stick Pikmin control. In Pikmin 1 and 2, you can control the Pikmin with the C-Stick or on the Wii version by holding down on the D-pad and pointing around. And that was super precise control. It was basically like using the one analog stick to move Olimar and one analog stick to move the Pikmin. It was genius. But then in Pikmin 3, they removed that mechanic for a new mechanic, which is basically locking on, then shaking the nunchuck or whatever button you have for your control scheme, and then the Pikmin charge it. That is fine, but using it to replace a C-Stick control is a little weird in my opinion. Personally, I love the locking on mechanic. I love it a lot. It is great. But I do not think, and the charging mechanic is also great, but I do not think that they should have removed the C-Stick control. I would love it if you could lock onto something, you could control the Pikmin with the C-Stick to attack, or you could charge. Either one. Or you could not lock on at all, and then use the C-Stick. Because sometimes you want to move and manipulate the Pikmin without necessarily attacking something, and you couldn't really do that in Pikmin 3, except for with the dodge whistle kind of, but that was an upgrade you got later on. Obviously, the way the game was designed, it wasn't a huge deal, but, I would personally like to see more control over the Pikmin, even if it's not as necessary, because the Pikmin pathing was greatly improved from Pikmin 2 to 3. I do think that they should still have that option for people who want to more precisely control their Pikmin. Number 2 is bring back caves. I was shocked that caves did not come back from Pikmin 2. Caves expanded the gameplay and overall length of a Pikmin game without having to make, overload us with, overworld content. Like, in Pikmin 1, 2, and 3, in my opinion, they all have, like, around the same amount of overworld area, except probably a lot more in Pikmin 3 because, the areas were bigger, but still around the same amount of areas. But Pikmin 2 could expand that by just, having more raw gameplay, not more puzzles and more, like, stuff you normally do above ground, but just, like, raw tests of your combat skill and trying to find treasures. It's, like, a lot of mini challenges that don't really have any clever puzzles that you do have above ground. And personally, I do prefer above ground gameplay, but having those extra caves on top of that just lengthens the game more. Some people may say it's like artificially padding, but personally, I just like more of a challenge in trying to 100% my games. And something we could change from Pikmin 2 to Pikmin 4 is make caves more optional. Kind of like how the main objective in Pikmin 3 was more to get the Cosmic Drive Key and find Olimar and stuff. And then the fruit was just side stuff. You needed the fruit to survive, but you could like beat the game with only getting 3, 5 fruit depending on how fast you were. So and getting the rest of the fruit was more optional. Having all those optional stuff in caves would be great for people who don't like them and do like them. A nice compromise, in my opinion. And it wouldn't unnecessarily pad out the game, in my opinion. And also, there is 7 main types of Pikmin now. There's purple, white, winged, rock, and then red, blue, yellow. With all those Pikmin, plus probably more that they're gonna add, they need more room for extra trials for them. So, having all those, like, obstacles for the specific Pikmin colors would be nice to, have. And that brings me to point number 3. Make all 7 types of Pikmin playable in story mode. Purples, rocks, winged, the 3 main colors. Bring them all back. Preferably, I'd like them to all have their own onion. But some people in the Pikmin community have been mentioning that having 7 types of Pikmin may be an overload. So, I may suggest to keep all of them in story mode. Maybe bring back the Candy Pop exclusive Pikmin, like have whites and purples only obtainable through Candy Pop buds, like in Pikmin 2. Because in Pikmin 2, you could never really have a nice, like, constant over 100 amount of whites and purples just because you only could make them from converting other types of Pikmin through Candy Pop buds. So maybe they could make purples and whites cave Candy Pop bud exclusives again. Maybe make a new type of Pikmin Candy Pop bud exclusive, and then another new type of Pikmin not Candy Pop bud exclusive. So you'd have like, say, you'd have 6 onion Pikmin, and then, like, 4 Candy Pop bud exclusive Pikmin, something like that. That'd be pretty cool in my opinion. It wouldn't be as much of an overload. Maybe make the Candy Pop buds a little more, spread out, so you can't get as much as you got of purples and whites in Pikmin 2. You could also make the new Pikmin types that come from Candy Pop buds more niche in their functionality. Like, you don't need them to beat the game. Going back to the optional cave thing, you don't need them to beat the game, but they're good against certain enemies. Say, like, how rocks are really good against Wollywogs because they can't be crushed, or something like that. But there's no, like, obstacle that is required for them to be used, except for getting an optional fruit, or optional treasure, or optional of whatever the collectible will be in Pikmin 4. So that is a great way of bringing back all the Pikmin, adding new ones without having it to be an overload. Also, this gets into another point of mine. Number 4, extend the 100 Pikmin limit. If you extend the 100 Pikmin limit, you'll have more options. Not necessarily make it unlimited. Maybe make the limit 500 Pikmin, 300 Pikmin, maybe if we're going even farther, 1,000 Pikmin. Because then you can have more types of Pikmin without limiting the number of Pikmin you can have on the field. Because I kind of get why they only had 5 types of Pikmin in Pikmin 3. Because there was 100 Pikmin limit. And the most you can have of every type on the field is 20. Shrinking that anymore is kind of like, eh. But if you extend the 100 Pikmin limit, it won't be a problem. The reason the 100 Pikmin limit was there in the first place, besides for gameplay reasons on the GameCube, was because of limitations. You couldn't have too much stuff on screen. But with the Wii U or whatever system this is going to be on, except for maybe the new 3DS, I'm pretty sure you could safely extend the 100 Pikmin limit without overloading the game. Although there was some lag in Pikmin 3 in some areas, but I don't think an extended Pikmin limit would bother that too much. So yeah, I want them to extend the limit. Now, number 5 is for online story mode co-op. I talk more about this in my multiple squads speculation video, which you can see right here. I'll put an annotation right now. But online co-op story mode would be great. I was super surprised that there wasn't just normal local story mode co-op in Pikmin 3, because especially if they extend the amount of captains to maybe like 4 or 5, this would make a lot of sense, having story mode co-op, because there's co-op already in mission mode, so why not have it in story mode? In my mind, there was no reason not to have it in Pikmin 3. Of course, it wouldn't be required. It'd just be nicer to have multiple people using multiple captains instead of having to use the Go Here feature and switching between people. Because, like, you should have the option to do that. Like, it makes complete sense to have somebody help you out, just like in mission mode, in story mode. It boggles my mind why it wasn't in Pikmin 3. But, yeah, and then just have that online. Amazing, dude. Amazing. It'd be so much fun. It brings so much more to the Pikmin franchise, and it'd make the series in general a lot more fun. Even if Pikmin 4 is worse than Pikmin 3, if it had online story mode co-op, it'd make up for all of that. Just because that'd just be so fun. Like, oh my god, I love that. And Nintendo hasn't really done that in the past, but now that Triforce Heroes is coming out, a game that is solely based on online multiplayer co-op, I have more hope for that being available in Pikmin 4. And even if it isn't online, hopefully it is at least local co-op. Something that is similar to the last point, number 6, online Bingo Battle. Bingo Battle is such a fun multiplayer mode in Pikmin 3. It expands everything from the 2-player battle mode in Pikmin 2 and makes it just so much better. You can use multiple types of Pikmin. That is like, in my opinion, Bingo Battle is the most fun mode in Pikmin ever. The problem is, it is local, and not a lot of people I know locally are good at Pikmin. So why not bring it online? It is perfect, just like online story mode co-op. There is no reason not to. It'd be pretty simple in my opinion. You could each have your own gamepad, so you could use the Go Here feature with other captains more easily, because one of the problems with local Bingo Battle is that one person could have the gamepad, and then they'd have an advantage by having the map and the Go Here feature and stuff. And then one person didn't. But in online Bingo Battle, that wouldn't be a problem because you'd have your own gamepad. Also, Bill Trinan in an IGN interview mentioned that he wanted Bingo Battle to go into the esports scene like Smash Brothers has. I think Bingo Battle has a lot of competitive potential, just like Splatoon. Maybe not as much because it wasn't built from the ground up to be like super competitive, but it was just made for a multiplayer side thing. But they could expand so much on it and make it like another half of Pikmin. Like half of Pikmin 4 is the main story mode, and then the second half of Pikmin is this online Bingo Battle multiplayer like big thing. Like if you could make it as big as Splatoon, oh my fucking god, that'd be so amazing. If they did bring Bingo Battle, I expect it to be like as big or as important as like Mario Kart Online or maybe Smash Bros Online, if we're lucky. But if they could make it as big and as involved as Splatoon, oh my god, dude. Just so much potential in bringing Pikmin Bingo Battle online. I could talk for a long time about this, but I'm not going to because we have more to talk about. We're only on number 6. We're not even halfway done. The next point is kind of a nitpick I had specifically with Pikmin 3. This wasn't a problem in Pikmin 1 or 2. But keep all the onions or all the, like, discovery of Pikmin near the start of the game. One of the problems with Pikmin 3 for me is that you gained blue Pikmin, like, right before you were about to fight the final boss. Obviously, there was a lot of fruit you needed to get in the game with blue Pikmin, so if you're going for 100%, it wouldn't be right before the final boss. It'd be more like 3/4 into the game. But the last type of Pikmin you got in Pikmin 3 was blue Pikmin, and you got it so late into the game. There were just until you get every type of Pikmin, there's just so many little limitations to getting certain fruit. And one of the things I liked about Pikmin 1 and 2 is that, like, within the first 5 days or within the first 3 days or whatever, you could get every single type of Pikmin, and then everything was open to you, and then you just played the game, and there was just so much content. You feel so limited beforehand, and I'm not saying for them to give me, oh, all the Pikmin on day 1, I'm so limited, blah, blah, blah. Of course, you have to have some progression in the game, but it's nice to have all the Pikmin types nearest to the start of the game, so you can just be more free throughout the entire game, have a less restrictive experience throughout the rest of the game. That's just a little nitpick of mine personally. I haven't seen much people complain about it, but I'd like to hear your opinion about that in the comments. That is my number 6. Number 7 is kind of another nitpick with Pikmin 3. But remove awkward map transitions. In Pikmin 3, they're in the area, in area, like a map that you landed in, there's a lot of sub areas where you'd walk through a cave, there was a little transition, and then you're like on a completely different part of the map. And if you look on the map, you kind of went through like a warp tunnel, and you're on like a completely different part of the map. And it had a bunch of like awkward mechanics with it, where it was like, when Pikmin walked through that transition and you're like, oh yeah, I'm following a Pikmin carrying something back. They went through one of those transitions and you went through and you're like, where's your Pikmin? And then they're just like completely off the face of the earth. They're kind of like in the void traveling. And then they come out like a little delayed. It's kind of weird. And it's super annoying when you're trying to get all the Pikmin at the end of the day. And you're like, oh, where's my last Pikmin? Where's my last Pikmin? I'm looking on the map to save all of them. And some of them are just carrying stuff in this transition zone. It was a little awkward. So if they could remove that, or like try to build the game around in a certain way where they could remove that, that'd be great. This is more of a nitpick than like a really hardcore want. That's probably my least wanted thing in this entire list. But it's still kind of a problem in my eyes, and I get annoyed by it, I know. Anyways, next is bring back enemies from Pikmin 2. In Pikmin 3, they brought back a lot of enemies from Pikmin 1, but a lot of the enemies from Pikmin 2 were not brought back. This is why I say on multiple occasions that I feel like Pikmin 3 is just an alternate sequel, an alternate Pikmin 2, an alternate sequel to Pikmin 1, because they barely bring anything back from Pikmin 2, and one of the main reasons I feel like that is that there's a lot of enemies, big common enemies in Pikmin 2 that were established that didn't come back from Pikmin 3, like a lot of types of Bowblax, for example, the Hairy Bowblax, the Fire Bowblax. I loved the Fire Bowblax. I think it's called Fiery Bowblax. I really like that enemy. It didn't come back from Pikmin 3. There's a lot. There's the jellyfish enemies. There's some of the there's the cannon larvae that was red that homed on with the boulder, and of course there was a couple enemies in Pikmin 1 that weren't transitioned into Pikmin 2, but most enemies in Pikmin 1 were transitioned to Pikmin 2. The only ones off the top of my head that weren't were the Bowblax and the normal armored cannon beetle. That's probably about it. There wasn't much. Oh yeah, and the clams. But that's about it. But in Pikmin 3, they removed a ton of really cool enemies from Pikmin 2. And one that I really missed was Bobmin. This brings me to another point. Bring back Bobmin. Just like in Pikmin 2, don't have them so you can keep them. Just bring them sort of limited, maybe in caves or maybe even above ground where like they can't go into the onions and they're like, and automatically die at the end of the day. But yeah, just bring back Bobmin. They were so cool. They were like this overpowered type of Pikmin. They were immune to everything, and they were just so cool. They're obviously a little too overpowered to keep, but they were a nice little thing to have when you found them. So don't make them a big part of the game, but add them back. They were really cool. Anyways, another nitpick I had from Pikmin 3, a really big nitpick. No, don't bring back linear objectives to beat the game. In Pikmin 3, obviously the goal was to get fruit, but your main goal was actually to track down the Cosmic Drive Key, find all the signals, find Olimar, and beat the game that way, and just get enough fruit along the way to survive with your juice supply, which was actually extremely easy. So the problem with a linear objective for me is that it kind of takes away of the whole like collectathon feel of Pikmin. Pikmin's always been about collecting X amount of items to beat the game, but in Pikmin 3, they changed that where you just have to find all the bosses, beat all the bosses, and rescue Olimar at the end, and then just everything else was just to help you along your way. It wasn't really the main objective. I'd really like to return to just collecting everything as the main objective, because having these linear objectives makes it more, like, the thing I like about Pikmin so much is that you can do anything in basically any order once you unlock all the Pikmin in all the areas, and you can just explore yourself. But in Pikmin 3, there's always like, oh, you have to find Cosmic Dragon, oh, you have to find Olimar, nah. And then you do all that, and then it's like, the game's over. It's like, I want to collect everything. I want to be like this mastermind over all these Pikmin and collect everything and be like, haha, and stuff, and hoarding everything. And of course you can do that in Pikmin 3, but you can't really do it the same way. Like, I don't know. I'm probably not explaining myself too well, but that's just how I feel about it. You can expand on that in the comments and discuss about it. I'll be replying to comments, so yep. Anyways, something that's that I really want, just personally, and isn't really a big gameplay mechanic, but I'd really like white Pikmin to spit acid. In the Pikmin short movies, in the third one, the longest one, the best one, white Pikmin spit acid and melt steel. This is the first time we've ever seen white Pikmin do this. It was a special, it's like a special ability that white Pikmin had that we never knew about. I think this will happen. This is more of a prediction than a want. This is a want, but it's more of a prediction. White Pikmin spitting acid in the next Pikmin game would be awesome. Imagine if there was like a steel wall that you couldn't break down with bomb rocks, and you only could do white Pikmin, and then you get your white Pikmin to work on them, and they all just spit out acid like blah, 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 on the wall, and just melts down slowly. That'd be so cool. I know there's like kind of too many walls, that there's too many Pikmin that are just like, oh, we break down this wall, let's make a new hazard, and then a new Pikmin, and then voila, like, oh, crystal walls, rock Pikmin, electricity walls, yellow Pikmin, brown Pikmin break down grass walls. Ugh. You know, it's kind of a little generic at this point, but it'd just be so cool. Like, I don't know, just the idea of white Pikmin spitting acid, and maybe they won't use it for a wall. Maybe they would actually use it in combat. Like, what? Oh my god, I came up with this want on the fly just now. But think about it. What if white Pikmin were ranged attackers? Up until now, every Pikmin has been melee combat. But what if white Pikmin are the first Pikmin to kill enemies from a distance with their acid? They're like, spit out their acid and then put it on the enemy, and then they get damaged without white Pikmin being right there. Or maybe add a range attack to another type of Pikmin. That would be so cool. Oh my god. That would just, oh my god. In Pikmin 3, something that they did was really expand the combat of different types of Pikmin. With rock Pikmin, you could do extra damage by throwing them, but subsequent attacks wouldn't do as much. And winged Pikmin could fly, so they'd be better like with organization and stuff. But they were weaker in combat, and then they also weakened white Pikmin in combat and stuff. And then red Pikmin are still a little stronger than others for fighting. Expanding the combat even more for Pikmin 4 with like ranged attacks and different types of like, this Pikmin does this amount of damage. Instead of just having Pikmin overcome obstacles with their typage, having them for specific purposes in combat, not exactly required, but more preferred and beneficial for certain types of combat. That would be amazing, just making the Pikmin types more like, I feel like using white Pikmin here to attack, even though I could use rock Pikmin, so it's more like a preference thing than like, oh, I need rock Pikmin here, or oh, I need white Pikmin here. That would be awesome. Next, I want them to bring back the Picklepedia from Pikmin 2. In Pikmin 3, there was like a fruit log which was pretty cool, but there wasn't any really log for the, or like, museum type thing for the enemies. And in Pikmin 2, there was a Piklopedia where it showed you every type of enemy, how they interacted with Pikmin, by throwing Pikmin carrots. It showed you every treasure. It was just so awesome, and it had its own, like, witty descriptions with, 3 different characters, the ship, the Louie, and Olimar. If they brought that back for Pikmin 4, that would be great. Just a nice little thing to see all the enemies in the game, see all the treasures in the game, read up more on them if you want to, and yeah. Okay, my next want is another, like, unique idea that I came up with, which is add an optional night mode in the Pikmin, games. When it becomes night, you have to go up to the surface because all the enemies wake up and they go crazy and they're like, I'm gonna eat all your Pikmin. And usually in Pikmin games, especially in Pikmin 1, you have a limited amount of days and you want to do things quickly. What if you had an option where, instead of going up, and being safe for the night in your ship, you could, stay on the surface overnight, and continue to your day, essentially double the length of your day so you could do things quick in a shorter amount of days. But at night, the enemies are so much harder. It's like a brutal version of Pikmin, like final boss level material just in normal areas. That would be awesome. And maybe if they could expand it to have like only to have it like usually at the end of the day when Pikmin are about to be eaten, they're all like scared, like ah. Maybe they could add a new type of Pikmin where they're immune to getting scared at night or getting scared to other things like those little bugs that came out of the eggs in Pikmin 2. I don't know what they were called again. I think, I don't really remember what they called, but you basically open an egg and a lot of them come out and all the Pikmin go, wah, wah, wah! Maybe there could be a new type of Pikmin where they're immune to being scared and they also light up, naturally, like, light bulb Pikmin, and then you use them in this night mode to kill enemies more effectively. So essentially you're playing an optional night mode where the game's harder and you only can use a certain type of Pikmin that is only immune to being scared. So if there's any like water hazard or electricity hazard that there would be in the day, you couldn't really fix them, except I guess you could bring out your yellow Pikmin, and once every enemy along the way is defeated, you can bring your yellows to like break down an electricity gate with no enemies around it because he kicked all their asses with the light luminescent Pikmin. But that's just an idea. I think it'd probably be better just to have the night mode and have the harder enemies, but without that luminescent Pikmin idea. That's just something that popped up in my head, but it'd actually probably be better to not have those type of Pikmin and just have it in optional night mode where you can extend your time of the day, but the enemies are much harder and they all roam around and like stuff. Kind of like, think about it, think of them like the ball bears from Pikmin 2. In Pikmin 2, the ball bears had their babies following them and they were roaming around. They were always awake and just roaming around, and that was super scary. Just imagine that on every enemy in the game, just not staying put, roaming around, going crazy like nyam nyam nyam. That'd be awesome to have. So if you're a noob, you could just go up for the day and be like, I'll just wait till morning. Or if you were a hardcore player and you want to get the game done in like shorter amount of days, you could be like, I'm gonna tackle this night mode and I'm gonna have a better score for beating this game, but I'm gonna risk having harder enemies to deal with. My next point is make my very last want, want number 15, I'm pretty sure I'm on, is make Olimar the main character again. The Copites were okay, but Olimar is just the main character of the Pikmin franchise. He's the one that's represented in Smash Bros. He's the one with his own amiibo. He is the one in the Pikmin shorts. He is the main character of Pikmin. I would personally prefer to have him controllable, maybe along with the Cobayans. Maybe have like 5 captains, especially if there's online story mode co-op. And you can have 5-player co-op or 3-player co-op with like, I have Brittany and Charlie, and you have Alpha and Olimar, and then someone else has Louie and Brittany or something. Or maybe not necessarily take away the Cobayans, but make it so there's like 6 captains, where there's President, Louie, Olimar, and then there's Alf, Brittany, Charlie, and when you play 2-player co-op online, one person is the Cobayans, one person's the Occultations, or if you decide to play with 3 people, one person's like Olimar, Louie, one person's like Alf, Brittany, one person's like Charlie, President. If you decide to play 5 players, you can each have 1, or you decide to play 6 players, you can each have 1 captain, and so on and so forth. That'd be awesome, but if you can't do that, just make it so Olimar is the main character again, because I miss Olimar, and I miss Louie, and I like the Occultations a lot more than the Cobayans, because, you know, I'm a racist. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I highly encourage you guys to comment down below on your wants for Pikmin, or any opinions you might have on one of my 15 wants that I have shared with you today. But thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, I will see you guys later. Again, sorry for being sick, because I was sick and my voice may sound a little stupid. Bye-bye.